The first rays of the sun tiptoed over the endless savanna, painting the sky with strokes of orange, pink, and gold. The cool light mist slowly lifted, revealing a vast land where the grass whispered secrets to the wind and tall acacia trees stood like silent guardians. In a small clearing beside a gentle, winding river, a group of early hominins stirred awake. These were the ancestors of humanity, creatures we now call Australopithecus afarensis. Their bodies were smaller than ours today. They had long, strong arms for climbing, curved fingers for grasping branches, and sharp eyes that darted around, always alert. They lived not in grand houses or cozy caves but under the open sky, beneath the shimmering blanket of stars at night. Among them was a young female, barely entering adulthood. Her name, if she had one we could understand, might have been something like Tara, for she always looked up at the stars. Tara was curious, restless, and brave. Always the first to investigate new sounds, the first to reach for the ripest fruit. That morning, she opened her eyes to find dew glistening on the leaves around her. She stretched, her muscles rippling under her thin fur. Around her, others began to wake too: her mother, her younger brother, the old matriarch with a scarred face, and the strong male who usually led the group to food and water. Life was harsh. Every day was a gamble, a struggle against hunger, predators, and the unforgiving forces of nature. Yet, in those precious few moments before the sun rose fully, there was peace. A silence that spoke of belonging, of a life still untouched by human inventions and machines. Tara's stomach growled. She stood up and looked around. The group needed food, and they needed it fast. Fruit trees were sparse. Sometimes they had to travel for hours under the scorching sun, hoping to find berries, figs, or tubers. On lucky days, they stumbled upon termite mounds, which offered protein-rich insects. The old matriarch began to grunt softly, a signal to move. Slowly, everyone gathered their young and began the trek. Tara carried her brother on her hip for a while, but he was too big now, so he clambered down and trotted beside her. As they moved, Tara kept her eyes scanning the horizon. In those days, survival depended on being watchful. Lions lurked in the tall grass. Hyenas cackled in the night. Eagles circled above, searching for small prey. Even crocodiles in the river could snatch the unwary. But they had each other. They didn't have sharp claws or powerful jaws, but they had community. They had the ability to warn each other, to protect each other. When one cried out, all turned to look. When danger came, they stood together. After hours of walking, they found a grove of fig trees. The group erupted in excited calls. Tara raced forward, climbing quickly, using her strong fingers to pluck the sweetest figs from the highest branches. Juice dripped down her chin as she ate, and for a moment, her world was nothing but the taste of ripe fruit and the joy of plenty. But no feast lasted forever. As they ate, a sharp call rang out from below. The old matriarch had seen something. Tara froze, her heart pounding in her chest. Below her, her brother whimpered, clinging to a low branch. In the grass, moving silently, was a lioness. Her golden eyes were locked on the group, her muscles coiled tight, ready to pounce. For a heartbeat, time stopped. Tara looked at her brother, at the others around her. She felt a surge of something deep inside, a fierce, protective force. With a loud, shrill cry, she screamed down to her brother. The others joined, hooting and shaking branches. Some began to throw sticks and fruit. The lioness paused, calculating. In that moment of hesitation, the group scrambled higher or jumped to the next tree. Finally, the lioness turned and slinked away, disappearing into the tall grass. Breathing heavily, Tara slowly climbed down, gathered her brother, and hugged him tight. She could feel his small body shaking, but he was safe. In the quiet after the danger passed, the group slowly reassembled. Their faces were cautious but relieved. Tara felt her heart steadying, her breathing slowing down. This was their reality, a constant dance between life and death, fear and relief, hunger and satisfaction. As the sun dipped low, painting the world in amber light, they began the journey back to the river. Nights in the ancient world were a different kind of threat. Once the sun fell below the horizon, the world turned into a cold, echoing chamber filled with prowling shadows and distant roars. That night, the group huddled together near a cluster of rocks. The old matriarch chose the spot carefully, with good sight lines and escape routes. They pressed close to one another for warmth. Tara felt her brother's head on her chest, his breath soft and rhythmic. Above them, the stars slowly blinked into existence, glittering across the dark canvas of the sky. Tara gazed up at them, her eyes wide with wonder. In those days, the stars might have seemed like small fires in the sky, or perhaps spirits of ancestors watching over them. Tara felt connected to those lights, as if they were telling her stories from another world. She dreamt of them often, glowing shapes moving above her, whispering secrets she could not understand but felt in her bones. In her dreams, she ran across the plains, free and fearless, with no lions, no hunger. The next morning arrived, as always, too soon. The group rose with the first light, their bodies stiff from the cold night. They had to keep moving, to find new feeding grounds. Sticking to one place too long was dangerous, it meant overused resources, and predators learned their patterns. That day, they trekked along a dry riverbed. Tara's feet were sore, her lips dry and cracked. But she didn't complain. No one did. In their world, there was no room for complaints, only action, only survival. They dug up roots with sticks, cracked open nuts with stones, the first faint hints of tool use that would one day define humanity. Tara watched the older ones carefully, mimicking their actions. She learned how to choose the strongest stick, how to wedge a rock just right to open a hard shell. At midday, they found a shallow pool of muddy water. Tara drank deeply, tasting the earth in every gulp. It wasn't clean by today's standards, but it was life. By afternoon, they encountered another group. There was tension in the air, two groups meeting was always dangerous. There could be fights over territory or food. They watched each other carefully from a distance, shoulders hunched, eyes sharp. Slowly, after some cautious calls and gestures, the other group moved away. A small victory, no conflict today. Tara felt relief wash over her. She turned to her brother and gave a quiet, comforting grunt. He looked up at her, and for a moment, they shared something deeper than words, a silent promise to protect each other, no matter what. That night, as they settled into a new sleeping spot, Tara looked at the horizon. She could see distant trees, new lands waiting beyond. Something inside her stirred a longing for more, a curiosity that would one day push her descendants to sail oceans and fly to the stars. She did not have the words for it. But in her heart, there was a spark. A tiny, flickering flame that would someday become the fire of human imagination and invention. She closed her eyes and listened to the soft breathing of her family around her. The wind rustled the leaves above, and in the far distance, a hyena laughed. But she felt safe, for now. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new hunts, new escapes. But for this moment, Tara let herself dream. She dreamed of sweet fruits, of moonlit rivers, of a world where danger did not lurk behind every bush. And above all, she dreamt of the stars, her constant companions in the night sky.